Welcome to today's deep dive. So when you think of a standard scuba dive, it usually lasts, like 40 to 60 minutes?
Yeah, roughly. That is kind of the sweet spot for a typical tank.
Right. But today we are taking you into what happens when humans push way beyond that. We are pulling from this translated article on diving records. And our mission today is to really explore the extreme physical, psychological, and logistical limits of human underwater endurance. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, let's get right into it because the first physical limit is just nuts. It is the 2014 record set by an Egyptian instructor, Ahmed Gabr. He went down 332.35 meters in the Red Sea.
Which is incredibly deep.
Oh, absolutely. But the craziest part is the time disparity. The drop itself took a really quick 15 minutes, but his ascent, that took almost 14 hours.
Wow, 14 hours just to come back up. That is like, imagine base jumping off a skyscraper, hitting the ground in 15 minutes, but then having to climb back up to the roof, rung by rung, over half a day just to survive.
I mean, that is a great analogy, though obviously you aren't fighting gravity in the same way you are fighting chemistry. At that depth, your body is under immense pressure.
Right, because all the gas is being absorbed into your system.
Exactly. It is the shaken soda bottle effect. At over 300 meters, the nitrogen you breathe dissolves deep into your tissues. So if Gabr were to just swim up quickly,
The pressure drops and the gases expand, right?
they expand into these lethal microbubbles in the bloodstream, which is severe decompression sickness. It would literally boil his blood. So he had to halt his ascent every 3 meters. He was forcing his body to slowly, meticulously off gas that accumulated nitrogen.
And managing that requires just an absurd support system. Like the sources note, his team had to swap out 92 individual gas tanks to keep him alive during all those stops.
92 tanks.
Yeah, and took 4 years of training just to prepare to survive 14 hours of waiting in the water column.
Which completely shifts the challenge, you know? You master the physical environment, but then you are just suspended in open water fighting boredom and anxiety.
Yeah, which perfectly bridges into the next record. Because what happens when you swap out the extreme pressure of depth for the extreme mental strain of time?
Oh, the duration records. Those are wild.
Right, like Turkish diver Sem Karabey in 2016. He spent nearly 6 days, specifically 142 hours, 42 minutes, and 42 seconds in the open sea off Cyprus. And he had an 8-day pool record before that.
That is just an unbelievable amount of time underwater.
It is. But I have to push back a bit on the mental aspect here. Like, how does someone not completely lose their mind staring at open water for a week?
Well, what's fascinating here is his psychological survival tactics. He didn't just float there in isolation. He essentially offloaded the basic physical survival to his support crew so he could focus on staying sane.
Okay, so his team was constantly cycling down to deliver food and water, right?
Yeah, fresh air, hydration, all of that. But the really amazing part is they also played underwater chess and football with him.
Wait, underwater football? Really?
Yeah, they were basically simulating normal daily life, just entirely submerged. Surviving extreme time like that isn't just about breathing, it is about actively fighting off madness by keeping your brain engaged.
That makes total sense. But, it makes you wonder what happens when you try to scale that human interaction up. Supplying one guy with a chessboard is one thing, but what about coordinating a temporary underwater civilization?
Ah, the logistical limits.
Exactly. Because in August 2009, the Indonesian Navy managed a simultaneous dive with 2,486 people, all plunging down to 15 meters.
Which absolutely shattered the previous record. I think the Maldives had one with like 958 people, so this was a massive jump.
It really was. But the detail that gets me is the sheer chaos management. How do you prevent mass panic with that many people? They actually had to split everyone into 50 separate groups off Malatang Beach.
Well, you have to remember, with over 2,000 breathing humans in one aquatic space, the volume of exhaust bubbles alone would drop visibility to almost zero.
Oh, I didn't even think of the bubbles blinding everyone.
Yeah, it creates a huge physical hazard, so keeping them safe requires extraordinary military precision. They had to rely entirely on strict formations and nonverbal communication protocols so nobody would crash into each other.
Wow. It really reframes how we look at the ocean, doesn't it? We usually treat it as this place we can only visit in short bursts.
Right, like a hostile environment.
Yeah. But these records, whether it is mastering the chemistry of a 14-hour ascent, engineering psychological support for a week, or organizing an underwater city of thousands, they prove our perceived limits are just starting lines.
Completely. The ocean is really just a complex logistical puzzle waiting to be solved.
Which leaves you with a pretty fascinating question to ponder. If a single person can eat, drink, sleep, and play chess underwater for nearly a week, using just standard scuba gear and a support crew. What are the actual barriers preventing humans from establishing permanent, open ocean underwater habitats?